Hey guys, today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to take PNG or JPEG sequence animations from either After Effects or 3ds Max and bring them into Unity. You can use this as UI animations, you can use it as sprite animations, whatever you like. I'm just going to do a quick example of a PNG animation in After Effects, and I'll be able to sort of show you how I do this one particular thing that I like doing anyway. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a cute little trim paths animation. Looks like some little cilia or something. I've got my shape layer right here. I'm going to click off of that. If I open this up, we've got our contents in here. What you can do to make like a really cute little GIF animation out of this is under contents, if you go over to the add sequence right here, we can say trim paths. And now, if you open up trim paths, you got start and end. And you'll notice that if I drag along this, we can actually see it's animating the course of the path. And it's the same with the end function right here. It animates it moving along this path right here towards the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little 4-second animation. I'm going to start it at 0. I'm going to hit my little keyframe. Move that back to 0, and at 4 seconds or so, I'm going to change it to 100%. So now, if I play my little animation over 4 seconds, it draws everything out. Isn't that adorable? I'm also going to move this bar back, because that's all I really want from this render, is I just want this little section, this little 4-second clip. I'm going to say trim comp to work area. And now, all I have is my one little animation, my little 4-second animation. That's all I want. It's perfect. So I'm going to export this. I'm going to go to Composition, Add to Render Queue. I'm going to change this to PNG sequence. Now, if you want the background to be transparent, make sure that you're hitting RGB plus alpha. Otherwise, it's not actually going to give you a transparent background. If you just leave it as RGB, it's just going to be everything including the white. So if you say RGB plus alpha, it'll understand what that means, and it'll keep that. You can actually toggle the transparency to make sure that you have your transparency on. So I'm going back to my render queue. I've changed the output module to be a PNG sequence over here. This is the area that I clicked to get that dialog open. I'm going to change where I'm outputting it to. I'm going to output it to my current project. I'm going to save it in a subfolder called My Mini Anim. And it's saving it right now as comp1, so whatever you want to name it. Yellow line. And then these number marks actually mean which frame it is. So it automatically sorts it for you. So I'm going to hit save. And I'm going to hit render, and it should do that pretty quickly. Alrighty, fabulous. So let's go ahead and go into our Unity project where we saved that. It's going to take a second to import all of that stuff. Now you'll notice as we're getting closer to the end of this importing that it's actually taking a while to import. So before you make an animation out of these, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go into the file for it. So I'm going to go to My Mini Anim, which is the folder I saved it in. I'm going to take everything, and like we've talked about before, we're going to change the texture type to sprite, 2D, and UI. Otherwise, it assumes that it's like some sort of like 3D model texture. So I'm changing it to Sprite 2D and UI, but it also says max size 2048. That's pretty huge. That's not really what we want. If this is just going to be like a little UI animation, I'm going to change it to 512, and I'm also going to check use crunch compression. And after I've changed any of those settings, I'm going to go down to apply, and it's going to have to re-import all of that stuff. This is going to save you a lot of time, not only when you're actually rendering out, when you're building out at the end, but it's also going to save you time when you open the game. Your final build will be a lot more lightweight if you make sure that you're compressing any animations, any PNGs that you have. And alrighty, there we go. There we have all of our PNGs. They're nicely compressed. We can see them all in a row right there. Now let's actually make something that animates on screen. If I say UI and image, I've got a little UI image down here. For some reason it's in the bottom corner. That's totally fine. Let's move this guy. Let's anchor him in the top. And remember that if you want to anchor something and position it, you can hold down Shift and hold down Alt or Option and click whatever top corner you want. It'll both anchor it and move it up there. I'm going to go to my Animation tab. And this is like any 3D object, all your UI animations also need an animator in addition to having an animation clip. The difference is that it's going to have an animator on here. The animation clip that it has is just going to be made up of all of these. We're basically going to be saying that we're animating the source image over here. We're animating it so that it changes through all of these sprites. So if we're animating the source image, the first image should be the first image or the first sprite of our animation. So this guy right here. Whoop. Just opened it up, but yeah. So we're basically animating the source image property of our image component, right? So let's actually create our animator. My UI anim is what I'm going to call it. It creates it in here. Perfect. Now, if I want to make a clip out of a PNG sequence, it's super simple. I'm just going to select all of the PNGs I want to use. Now make sure that they're not open. If you have one open, it's not going to let you drag it in. Like if I select all of this, it says, oh, I have one sprite in here and a bunch of texture 2Ds. So make sure that these are all closed before you select all of them. So once you've selected all of them, if it gives you this window, you're going to click and drag. It should give you the plus sign right here. And automatically, boom, it will cycle through them in order. You can see it over here. Yeah, if I drag up. Right now my image itself is kind of squashed, so I'm going to take my my blue triangles, or excuse me, my blue circles, and open that up a little bit. And now in my game mode, if I press play, we've got my little PNG animation over here. And part of the reason for that is that, like any animation clip that we create automatically, it is the default animation clip. You can use this clip exactly like how you've used any other animation clip. You can play it on a button. You can use it as like a slide in, slide out panel. You could have it, like a cute little starburst PNG animation that you make in After Effects that you use to blow up over certain things when you hit them on the screen. You can use it for all sorts of things. But this is a really cute little technical thing that I figured you would all need to know how to do before the end of your final projects. So if you guys have any questions about that, please let me know.